If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Hello and welcome to the Full Court Press. Ajay, Salvesen, Eric Frandsen will be joining me in short of moments. Happy Monday to you all for a one-year kickoff time here on December 7th, 2020 as we start to wind down at what has been a very bizarre, long, trialed, adverse year for so many of us. More so, or I guess more serious than others. But again, welcome to the Full Court Press. Happy to have you. A lot to recap. Boy, a busy weekend, not only in high school basketball, which continues this week, but Utah State basketball, their game versus BYU, will recap that, how it went down. Frank Miley and a couple players spoke with the Utah State media. Craig Smith's presser has been delayed till 4:15, so he'll speak about then. And we'll get the audio then, and
that'll be fun.
Yeah, so we're gonna be kind of flying around here for a little bit. Eric and I both will, but we will get the job done for you. And then we'll play the audio from today throughout tomorrow. And, of course, the Aggies play this Saturday night to conclude their season. Their season will end after Saturday night for football, mercifully, if you want to say that. And all eyes will turn on to who the new head coach will be leading the Aggies here in the future. There is rumors. The whole Graham Harrell rumor was that.
Just rumor. That.
Yep. So, and I think a couple, specifically one person, learned a very valuable lesson about voicing facts before they were reported or before they were confirmed. So
verified?
Yeah, verified, so on and so forth. Hey, if you want to join our show, you know how to do so. It's 435-339-0321. That's how you text in to our show. Again, 435-339-0321. And love to hear from our listeners. Gripes, complaints, questions, concerns, compliments, whatever you got, the suggestions. If you want to talk about a certain subject, we're more than happy to talk about it with you. But had some great reaction, some great listening reaction from you listeners on Friday. So we hope to have the same, and I think this will spark it in a nice way. Let's go ahead and start off with Saturday night's game at the Spectrum, the home opener for the Utah State Aggies. Ends in heartbreak fashion. Final score, BYU 67, Utah State 64. BYU led by as much as 12, and then led at 10.5 by as much as 12. And then the Aggies stormed back and just could never really get over the hump. But, you know...
they held BYU scoreless for like 5 minutes. I mean, certainly that gives you a chance. If you can hold your opponent without scoring any points for 5 minutes. But the problem is, Ajay, is that they dug themselves that hole at the end of the first half and just never could really climb back into it through about halfway through the second half. And look, they still gave themselves chances late.
Oh, they had plenty of opportunities.
They had lots of opportunities. The out-of-bounds call, the traveling call that didn't get called, it really didn't get reviewed. Yeah, that really sucks. But you know what? Utah State gave themselves plenty of opportunities to win that game.
And people say funky things happen when you play the BYU Cougars, especially when you're the victim of the Utah State Aggies. It's just how it's gone for the last 9 years now and counting against BYU. I mean, we haven't had them at our place in 3 years, and then you know when we have this big game, then it has to be a sparse crowd due to COVID restrictions. 1,600 were allowed to attend the basketball game, and those tickets went by very quickly. But, speaking of tickets, too, we got tickets to give away today, and we're going to talk about later on how to give those tickets away as the Aggies get ready for the College of Idaho tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and then they got Weber State on Saturday. I've been told 2 p.m. Now I'm seeing 12 p.m., so we'll get you a time sooner or later, and then the Aggies play football later that night at 7:30 in Colorado, or in Fort Collins versus the Colorado State Rams. 9315 text into our show, and again, if you want to, 435-339-0321 is the number. He says, BYU and Utah State had stretches of play where they did not score points. So if you throw that part out, then the bad calls by the refs decide the game. The biggest mistake by the refs was not ejecting the Averett, and he was the one that shoved Raleigh with a two-handed shove, which he should have been ejected. Also, the end of the game where they did not make the right calls twice. There sure was a travel and out of bounds. I still think that with all that would have that we would have won with Craig Smith being there as the coach. He is worth 3 points. What do you think? Eric Peterson did a heck of a job. I'm going to give him credit. He did a master. I thought he did a wonderful job. But Eric Peterson can't go to the line and shoot free throws for the Aggies, who went 20 of 29 at the free throw line. He can't take that wide open look for Barstow from the right wing three. He can't take a right wing wide open three from Raleigh, and he can't shoot the game tying free throw for Raleigh. Does coaching matter? Yes, but I feel like Eric is an almost identical twin in regards of the mindset of coaching as it would be for the Aggies, and that's kind of where I sit here is. Look, did calls not go our way? You betcha. I mean, a ref 30 feet away on the other side called an out of bounds and reversed a call, which was the incorrect call, reversed it, and said it was BYU's basketball when he was 30 feet away. There was bad calls all over the place, yes. But again, you went 20 of 29 at the free throw line, and you went 2 of 13 from 3. That's not going to win you a lot of basketball games. It hurts you.
I don't mean to nitpick. I don't mean to be that guy. But in rivalry games,
be that guy, though.
In rivalry games, when a lot's on the line for bragging rights, and it's been 8 straight that Utah State has lost to these guys, now make it 9. Could Craig Smith have made that much more of a difference? Probably.
How?
I don't know. But just having your head coach not there in the mix. He is your captain. He's your main guy. He's the one who's in charge of the ship. He's not there. I'm not saying that's a knock on his assistants. I agree with you. I think they did a heck of a job considering the circumstances. But if your head coach is there, maybe it makes a little bit more of a difference. There was that. The referee calls. I think we're absolutely, Aggie fans are in their right to be upset about some of those calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I just have to bring up Brock Miller. I don't understand. I feel bad. He's a guy that if he doesn't get rhythm early,
he's not going to get rhythm at all.
He can't manufacture it. He just can't.
I
don't know how many times we've seen this happen. If he's not making shots, he will not make shots.
He airballed a 2-foot floater. Think about that. He had a floater, and he missed everything on a push shot.
So I've had several people come up to me and say, hey, what's the deal? I mean, why does this guy start? Why does he get so many minutes? I kind of put my hands up like, I don't know. I'm not the coach. I don't know what this guy does in practice. But it could very well be, A, if he does get rhythm, he's a good asset to have out there on the floor. And B, they may just not have very many other options. I mean, this is not a great outside shooting team. At least not now. And so Brock Miller's kind of what you have. You have to go with it.
It's
at least with that size and his length of his arms, and for defensive purposes as well. I mean, Bear still played a lot of minutes. He kind of has that size and he has that length. He played some decent minutes. He didn't really fill up a box score, but he played similar minutes as Miller. But between the two of them, the Aggies got 5 points.
Yeah. Let's go through the numbers really quickly since you just brought them up. I'm going to start on the BYU side. Caleb Lohner, by the way, was 0 of 13 from 3 to start the season. I repeat, 0 of 13. He hit 3 versus Utah State, finished with 11 points, also had 4 fouls, and somehow avoided getting his 5th in the final 5 minutes of the game. Other killers, Alex Barcelo was absolutely phenomenal in 34 minutes.
We knew he was going to be the guy to watch out for.
5 boards, 2 assists. Connor Harding wasn't bad. He had 33 minutes, 7 points. Harms had 8. Brandon Averett had 6. On the other side, Justin Bean in 33 minutes was not good. He was 1 of 5 from the field, 4-4 at the line. He did have 13 boards, but he only had 6 points. Namish Keta wasn't great either. 39 minutes, he was 7 of 18. He had 8 boards and 18 points.
Like I can't be too critical of Keta. He was going up against a clone to some degree. I mean, a taller version.
Are we going to keep giving him the pass?
No, but
because he goes up and.
I'm not saying. I don't think he deserves a pass. I mean, 18 points, 4 assists, 4 steals, 8 boards. That's a good line. I mean, he was doing things on the court. Bean has struggled with his offense.
I see, but here Bean was being guarded by a much taller Lohner. No, I think Bean was being guarded. Like Harms, I don't think he's that much better than Lohner or whatever his name is, Lohner. Like, I think Launer is about as equal to Harms is, honestly, because Launer gave Bean trouble. And Bean's a pretty more versatile scorer. So it's hard to say, but I just haven't seen the Neemias Queta we have last year. I haven't seen the Neemias Queta. And I'm starting to kind of wonder if he was all that we thought he was.
I don't know what that means. I mean, we thought that he was an NBA type guy. We thought,
but are we starting to figure out that maybe he's not? As
a freshman, he exploded onto the scene. Sophomore year, battled through some injuries. This year, I think he started off okay. I don't know what we expect. Do we expect him to be a 25 and 12 and 4 guy every night? I mean, that's a heck of a lot to ask for.
But if Matt Harms is his equal to, and he's getting dominated the way he was by Matt, then what does that tell you?
Well, he wasn't dominated by Matt. I mean, look,
he missed so many bunnies.
Harms only had 8 points. But he was big and long, and it's not something that you're going to face every day. And, and you still came up with 18 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, and 4 steals.
So what? 6 of those points were on. 4
of those were at the line.
So, okay, 4 at the line, and then 6 of those points I'd say were like open dunks. But when it came to Harms guarding him straight up, Queta had a lot of trouble, a ton of trouble.
Right, and Queta had to do a little bit more outside, away from the rim, than perhaps he's more comfortable. But actually, that's probably okay that he gets put in those situations to illustrate what he can or can't do, what he needs to work on if he wants to be a next-level guy.
Go through just a couple more stats, then we're going to go to break. 36 minutes for Marco Anthony. He was really good, I thought. 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 4... Actually, not 4 assists. He had no assists and 3 turnovers.
He did have a steal. And I've liked Marco Anthony. He started a little shaky for Utah State. His outside shot is maybe a little unconventional. He needs to work on that, be more consistent outside. But I think he is showing that older leadership that Utah State needs on this squad.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Hiccups. Alfonso Anderson only played 7 minutes, didn't record he had the personal foul and 1 assist. Trevin Dorius only played 1 minute, and he was called for 3 seconds in the key in the first half, and he didn't see the rest of the game. Are we playing too short of a bench?
What else can you do? You can play guys minutes, but if they're not going to produce, go with the guys who are going to produce. Yeah. Look, there are guys on that Utah State bench that can and should be able to produce more than they are. And hopefully that flip switches soon. I don't know what's holding them back, but hopefully it comes together for them.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree to that. Let's go ahead and take a break. Coming back, we'll get to more college basketball, BYU and Utah State. Utah State now gets ready for College of Idaho. Craig Smith's about to start his press conference in just a little bit. And we will come back with that and much, much more here on the Full Court Press.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. Also, our mobile app, 106.9 The Fan, and 106.9thefan.com, where we stream. Hey, if you want to find any of our past episodes, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify has them all. We post our shows on there, and we'll hope that you guys will be able to find all the content that you need. We'll post Frank Miley, Craig Smith, and those guys as soon as we got their audio rolled upon. In fact, Craig Smith is just beginning his presser right now as the Aggies.
Sorry, what is he starting? His presser?
I don't. Stop it right now, Eric.
Look, I just gotta say, I feel your pain, Ajay. This last weekend, sitting there, singing some hymns with the family, and I'm looking at a small screen trying to read the words, and I thought it said one thing, and I said something else, and I realized as I'm saying it, I tried to switch it mid-word, which is never
okay.
Really
so here's what I need you to do. I need you to reenact what you said in the singing voice.
In the singing voice?
Yes.
No, I don't think our listeners
They deserve
that
this
punishment.
honor.
So anyway, I clearly said it wrong, and I'm just like, I just get my way through it, and I've got my 2 teenagers right next to me. No, actually, it was a teenager and my 11-year-old, and they just started busting up laughing, and we just got the giggles, and we're just laughing.
I hate when that happens.
And it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be quiet. Somebody's up there like praying, and we're like, okay, it was supposed to be quiet.
So it's the worst,
and
man.
we were just like shaking. The bench is shaking because we're trying to hold it in. And my wife's looking over at us afterwards, like, "What is going on?"
She's
over
all
there?
Disappointed in you guys. You all get sent to your room.
We just
when you get home.
cannot stop laughing.
Again, welcome back to the Full Court Press. Hope you're all having a wonderful Monday as we continue through the month of December, first week of December, I should say. 9463 texting, Eric. I want to get your thoughts on this. He says, I think the Aggies' biggest problem is getting the ball in the basket consistently. It just felt like they didn't have a system in place that allowed them to put the ball in the basket at a high rate. Bean's uncomfortable with the ball in his hands. Same with Brock Miller. Kedda can't put it on the floor and move around with it. Raleigh just isn't experienced. It's hard not having a guy like Sam Merrill for situations when you need a bucket, and you just can't get one this year. In all 4 games that they've played this year, they've had at least one scoring drought of 2.5 minutes or longer in every single game. I'd have to look at what the scoring drought was for the Aggies in this one. I believe it was 2 minutes and 30-something seconds.
It wasn't as bad as that 5 minutes for the Cougars.
No.
But Utah State did have a few.
I'll have to look at the score. I don't know what it was, but it was enough to put him from going up 1 to down 10.
Yeah, that was in the first half. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It was about 2 minutes. Scored a couple buckets, and then they were scoreless for almost the last part of the first quarter or first half. There, excuse me. So yeah, they do have these scoring droughts, and that's a great point. That who's going to go get your bucket when you need a bucket?
Yeah,
Sam was that guy. Sam could do that, and even to some degree, other guys could chip in and do that too. But you don't have that steadying force. You don't have that bucket getter. We knew before coming into the season it would need to be a collective effort. But who's going to be your guy that can make things happen in crunch time if things stall?
A couple of numbers and facts, Eric, stick on that topic. A couple of numbers that from the game. Again, this is credit to Kyle Cotton for all his great work. But USU held BYU to 67 points. That's an Aggie opponent low for the season. They held BYU to 36% from the 3. And it's the first time this year that an Aggie opponent had not made double-digit threes in a game. There was one more that stood out to me here. I got to find it now. Utah State shot a season low 35% from the field. They shot 15% from 3. The 2 made threes and 13 attempts were both season lows for Utah State. And Eric, here's the crazy part. They are now 1-3 on the season when out-rebounding its opponent, which means they've out-rebounded every single opponent and have only won 1 game out of it. That's incredible.
Yeah, that surprises me. I mean, Utah State had a pretty good rebounding margin against BYU. What was it, 42 to 35?
Yep.
They had more steals, Utah State, 8-3. Assists were pretty even. Utah State didn't have a ton of turnovers, 13 compared to BYU's 14. But it's just that the 3-point shooting was better for BYU. Utah State only made 2. Only 2. I mean, the 3-point defense was better by the Aggies, and that was a real concern I had going into the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be able to hit shots yourself.
Yeah.
Only 2?
I'm with you. Speaking of that, 2776 text in, only 9 months till football season. Calm down. We don't know what next season's going to look like either. And also that I thought that Radley was going to ascend to Sam Merrill status, but his 3 clanked out. I'm going to say something on the whole Raleigh-Worcester situation right now where it stands. Tell me how many freshmen are willing to take that corner 3, and how many freshmen are willing to not crap their pants when they go to the line to shoot 2. And I know he front-ended the second one, but his legs had to be near gone.
Right. You watch him play. You see how he looks physically. I don't see a true freshman out there playing.
Yeah, me neither.
But you have to kind of step back and think, oh yeah, this dude's a true freshman. So I think you have to give him a little bit of leeway. But consider what he's doing right now for this team as a true freshman.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. It's interesting that you would have to look for a freshman to get the help that you need to keep you in a ball game. That's just unreal to me. I mean, they didn't look to free. I mean, they're like, hey, Raleigh, we need you. And we heard Coach Smith talk about this on Friday. That, look, Raleigh has to be that guy who's going to take the burden, who's going to take the load and carry it, who's going to, have to be the major product of this team, because that's what we expect out of him. That's who he is. And they have that confidence in him. And, I mean, honestly, Raleigh, has the confidence in himself that he's going to go out there and make a play. And, I mean, look, again, I know he front-ended the second free throw to keep it to a 1-point lead for BYU, but how many other guys go to that free throw line and just miss the first one? I mean, dude, he didn't even touch rim on the first one. He hit all net. Kid's incredible.
Yeah.
I've loved watching him. I have nothing against him. I don't put the loss on him in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
I thought he was phenomenal, Eric.
No, I agree. I agree. I love watching him play and how much he's helping the team early on. I think Utah State's in a situation that they have to go with who they have and what they and just deal with the best that they can with the situation. Because if the outside shooting isn't there, they've got to figure out how to run plays. Just little. If it's not working for Brock, run some plays to get him some guaranteed quick, easy looks close to the basket. Just layups. Just run something for him. Get him some confidence. Get him some rhythm. Because they need him.
Oh, yeah.
Really need him. Because he has that skill. He has that ability. But if he's cold early, I haven't seen very many games where he's able to shoot himself back into it.
You know what going back
but
to
they need the experience that he has, years in the program. They got to get that figured out.
You're talking about Miller, is that right?
Yeah, Brock. Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna see it. I don't think we're gonna see it, man.
I don't know who else they have though. I mean, who has that size and that shooting ability?
Okay, well, the shooting ability he doesn't have. There is no shooting ability with Brock right now, and it hasn't been there for the last 2 years. But I put Bairstow in for Brock Miller, and I let Bairstow start. Bairstow just, I mean, I know he's still trying to get back into it.
I don't know that there's a dramatic change one way or the other. You're trading one guy who has more experience than another guy.
Would you say that Bairstow would be an upgrade, even if it's slightly, compared to Miller right now?
I don't know, because Bairstow has been Mr. Turnover for, at least he was in South Dakota.
He wasn't, though, the other night. He was okay.
He was okay.
But Brock Miller airballed a 2-foot floater. I mean, hit nothing, man. And then he airballed a 3, I think, too, actually, if I remember right from the corner. I'd have to look, but yeah, or if it didn't, it grazed rim. That's just kind of where we're at, and Alfonso has been bad. Alfonso is just not even...
Well, I would hope that something gets figured out there with Fonz, because they need him. They need that experience. They need his skill set.
I also want...
I liked the defense. I liked how Utah State held BYU below where they normally go. I mean, they held them way below their averages for threes. There were things that Utah State did well, but one of our earlier texts was right on. I mean, who goes to get buckets when you need a bucket?
And I know we're going with that answer. It's going to be Raleigh. But speaking of Raleigh, can I tell you what I really loved? And I probably ought to be careful how I say it, too. But I loved him turning around and talking smack to Averett. Averett said something, and you know what? Raleigh didn't even hesitate. He stepped right in his grill, and I can't repeat what he said, but I'm a good lip reader. And Averett gave him and by the way, the two-handed shove is an automatic ejection in any league, in basketball, high school, college, or NBA. So, Mr. Charles Nixon, while you're wondering why you may or may not be suspended for reffing because you did a bad job, also read the rule book that it's an automatic ejection for a full two-handed shove, which he gave to Raleigh. But I just love how Raleigh's like, I ain't going to walk away from you. You want to talk? I'll talk back. I'm not scared. It's awesome to see a guy who's willing to have that kind of sass. I'll take it anytime. 9315 text in. He wants to know how many points Brock Miller has on the season. He's right now averaging just under 6.5.
Okay, so I just added it up.
Give it to me.
25 points through 4 games. 8 against VCU, 5 against South Dakota State, 9 against Northern Iowa, and then 3 last night, or Saturday night.
All right, so in that span, make sure I got the right numbers here. Keda leads the team with 62. Marco has 55. Wooster has 51. And then there's a sincere drop-off with Bean at 39, Miller at 25, and Ashworth at 16.
Yeah, so the question about Bairstow replacing Miller.
And he's got 11. Yeah, I'm with you now.
9463 texts in, Bairstow, although more athletic, produces just as much as Miller. He can't score, and that's what they need. He doesn't solve the problem. He flies around the court a little better, but Brock provides spacing.
But do you think that spacing, and I ask you this, and I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, I promise, 9463, but is there spacing if Brock Miller keeps missing threes and they're like, you know what, just leave him open. If he hits one, good for him. Like, we're going to double Raleigh, and we're going to just sick ourselves on Raleigh and Bean. That's all we're going to worry about. We'll leave Brock open. Does it eliminate spacing if he continues to not score?
Well, yeah, if he's not going to knock him down, then you're right. The spacing is going to be, they won't care. They're like, okay, leave that guy open, give him space, drop back a little. So if you need to help somewhere else, you can. But Brock needs to be able to hit that shot so that defenses respect him. Even if he's not going to be on every night, they need to know that, hey, this guy can hit. He has that potential. Yeah. So we have to respect it.
Yep, absolutely.
And if you got a guy down low, 2 guys down low that can get whatever they, not necessarily everything they want, but if they can do damage in the post, then defenses collapse on them to slow them down. Man, you need those outside shooters.
They got to make shots. Like, Bairstow has no reason to miss a wide open right wing 3. I mean, dude, he had nobody near him. And in fact, I think the guy was supposed to go after him and challenge the shot, stopped halfway through and said, shoot it, I dare you. Make it. Like, they're challenging guys, with the exception of Raleigh, they're challenging guys to make threes, to make perimeter shots. And when I say challenging, they're leaving them wide open.
Right, like, okay.
Do it.
Go for it.
Dude, and, okay, look, I love Namish Keda. He shouldn't be shooting a 3 in a game. If you want to go shoot it in practice, by all means.
If it's something that he has been working on in practice, and coaches feel like you can make this shot, I'm okay. If he can stretch and pull the big defender away from the basket, and he has that threat where he can make that shot, yeah. But if he's going to be wildly inaccurate, then no, just don't bother.
So you're okay with having a possession end in a Keda attempted 3?
If coaches and Keda feel confident that has a high probability of making that shot, yeah.
6'5".
What if Keda starts making those shots consistently, Ajay?
Then great, but I want to see it consistently before he starts doing it. I want to see
that opens up a whole new world for Justin Bean.
Absolutely, but I don't think Ked is a guy who's going to make consistent threes. If I'm going to be honest right now, 6543. We got your text, and again, we would like to send you to Utah State with any complaints or questions or concerns. That is above my pay grade, and I feel like we've answered those questions. And so again,
questions about media rights.
Yeah, just go to Mr. Hartwell, Utah State, and voice your concerns, and that's the best answer we can possibly give you on that.
But as far as like how to find the game, like online or on TV, that was
not on TV for some stupid.
Yeah.
By the way, that's
really weird.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we are told to complain that we are allowed to complain about the Mountain West Conference not doing their job.
Wait, who gave you permission to complain about the Mountain West? I just curious.
I can't say that on air. But we've been told.
I would give you permission anytime. I'm just. Who else gave you permission to complain?
But the Mountain West Conference handcuffed Utah State until it was too late to find a TV broadcast. So there's that. So it was either BYU TV or in which I honestly don't know if I could have done that. Like, even with the result of the football game, I don't know if I want a BYU broadcast there. So, anyways, this Saturday's game will be on KJAS TV with Weber State in Ogden. That game's at 2 or 12. I have no idea. I'll find out. But, yeah. Tomorrow night's game's not on TV, right? Tomorrow night's game's on stream, I think. Mountain West stream, maybe?
I don't know. I
have no idea either. I gotta look that up.
I have to look it up.
It's not 2776. It's not 98. 100% of TVs from the last 5 years have apps you can use to stream these games. There you go.
Okay, well that's true, but it kind of it changed what we thought it was going to be. It became something different, and I mean, like 24 hours before the game. Anyway, we don't need to beat that dead horse.
Eric, let me ask you this really quickly. We talked about the bench. Does this rotation continue to shrink itself? I mean, Doria's played 1 minute, had a 3-second call, and they benched him. Liam McChesney has played, I think, like 4 minutes. Matthew Wickhouser's played 1. Zahar Vichiev has played 1 minute. Like, this, there is no room for error coming off the bench, it seems like. That if you screw up, you aren't seeing the court the rest of the day.
Well,
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I think tomorrow is going to be a really big and very important game for this Utah State basketball program.
Good thought.
I think that you're going to see a much deeper bench. I think you're going to see different lineups. I think you're going to see guys that we haven't seen a lot of outside of maybe the first or second game, start to see more time again. And look, the first and second game, they didn't know who they had, what they really had. Because what you can see in practice doesn't always translate to when the lights are on and when the official game clock gets started. And so they kind of had to figure that out as they went. And against Northern Iowa, they went with a short bench. Look, we're going to go with the guys that have proven over these last few games and in practices who we can rely on. They went with pretty much that same group on Saturday night. Tomorrow, they're going to have a chance to have some other guys get a second chance. Like, look, okay, I'm working on things. This is how I can help. This is how I can contribute. Maybe I deserve a little bit more time in the rotation. But I don't know. I think this is a really important game for USU just to fine-tune and work out some kinks and rotations.
Again, that game will be without Craig Smith. He's out for tomorrow night. They're hoping to have him back into the, Wayne Estes Center for practice on Wednesday, and then have him roam the sidelines for the Weber State game this upcoming Saturday. Then they play Dixie State next Wednesday, and then it's conference play a week after that. It's San Jose State at our place to open up conference play December 21st and 23rd. Looking at a couple of numbers, check out these mind-boggling stats. On the season, Eric, teams are shooting 42% from 3 on the Aggies. They are 47 of 110. Teams have taken 110 threes in four games.
Yes, that's a real problem.
Meanwhile, the Aggies are 29% from 3, 20 of 69. At the line, right now, they are 70 of 98 are the Aggies. That's 71%. That's not good. While teams' opponents are 81% right now, 45 of 55. That's incredible. The Aggies are getting to the line. They just start making them. Let's see. From the field, Aggies are shooting 40%. Opponents are shooting 45%. And from 3, from the free throw line, yeah. I mean, those are numbers right there just from the shooting side of things or the way things look. Teams have a lead of 60 to 43 on assist. But Aggies are out-rebounding teams. I'm going to make sure I have this right, too. I just lost it. Yeah, Aggies are out-rebounding teams 149 to 123, but the Aggies have 10 more turnovers, 60 to 50. Wow. It's trouble. I mean, I Out of those numbers, what do you want to see improved?
I'm not surprised to hear any of those numbers you just read.
Oh, okay.
Because the guard play is totally different. Complete turnover in your guards. And these are 7, 9 new players on this team. There's going to be some a bit of a downturn from where it was before with the skill and the experience of Sam Merrill, Abel Porter, and Diogo Brito. There's going to be a drop off in 3-pointers, in free throws, in ball handling. You wouldn't. I mean, you'd hope that the new guys coming in, you'd have somebody there that can come in and fit into something like that. Not to totally replace Sam. It's next to impossible to replace Sam Merrill. But to not be such a detriment on the court. But these guys need a little bit of time in this system with Craig Smith and his staff, and they need a tune-up game to get that settled a little bit, to get caught up to speed. So I'm not totally shocked. Yes, it's disappointing. I'm not totally floored to hear those numbers.
9315 texted in, actually, and you pretty much answered it. What was caused the drop-off from last year to this year's team in shooting? And like you said, Brito, Porter, and Merrill. That's a big loss right there with those 3 guys alone. But I think I feel like we're going to trend upward. Like at some point, I feel like we're going to trend upward. I don't know when that's going to hit. Hopefully soon. But I have confidence in Barstow. I have a lot of confidence in Worcester. Marco, I have confidence in too.
And look, I think that Brock Miller can be there. I think he can be consistent. This coaching staff has to find ways, if he's not early, if it's not working for him early, they've got to find ways for him to see the ball go through the hoop. Whether it's to get a foul, force the issue, go to the free throw line, see the ball go through the hoop, and let him open it up a little bit. Because if he can, I'm not saying we should expect a 20, 21-point performance regularly out of Brock Miller, but if he can knock down a couple 3-point shots and be 9 to 12 points a night, that's what they need. And that's what they should expect out of somebody with his experience and with his skill set.
Hey, is your Twitter account open?
Yes.
Go to the Washington football team really quickly. Oh, man, they might have deleted it. If they did, come over to my computer and look at this. We're going to go to break. I bet you money they deleted it. Someone's getting fired in about 2 seconds.
Somebody is certifiably smooth?
Nope. Come walk over to my computer. We're going to go to break, and then we're going to... I've got to show you this, but an intern is about to lose his job.
Of course, they are playing right now on Monday night.
You gotta come read this. It's the Full Court Press on 106.9 The Fan.
The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Full Court Press here. Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen. Thanks for joining us. However and wherever you are doing so from. Coach Smith's presser is just wrapped up. We'll cut some bites from it so you can hear from Coach Smith as the Aggies get ready to face College of Idaho tomorrow without Coach Smith. Again, they're hoping, be back by Wednesday. And then he'll be ready to roam the sidelines for Weber State coming up on Saturday afternoon. By the way, we have some tickets to give away for tomorrow night's game between College of Idaho and Utah State at the Spectrum, 7 o'clock game time. We will, in the 5 o'clock hour, give away those tickets. So stay tuned for that. We got 2 pair, I believe. So stay tuned. We'll give those tickets away then. And then don't forget about USU women's basketball. They got a big game tonight, 7 o'clock versus BYU. Fans are allowed to be there. They are limiting fan attendance, I believe, to 1,600, I think. But Kayla Ard will get her first dose of the BYU-Utah State rivalry from the women's basketball perspective. She's a good coach. I love what Kayla Ard's doing. Look, they're gonna struggle through the first portion of the season, especially in her first year. We all expected that to happen. But the way that her team's competing, now they lost to Seattle in a heartbreaker, had a 6-point lead, I believe, with 25 seconds left. And Seattle hit 2 threes to tie it up. I think it was a 5-point lead, actually. And Seattle was found a way to tie it up, take it to overtime, and then won on a last-second shot to beat Utah State. But Coach Ard's got this team, the women's team, in the right direction, trending in the right direction. Now, of course, BYU is a different animal, both in women's basketball as well. They'll create a problem, but I feel like Kayla Ard is going to find a way to make sure these girls will compete, and that she'll put her players in the best position to go out and win a big basketball game. How would it be? I mean, Coach Ard in her first year to beat BYU. That would be something. So, again, that game is at 7 o'clock tonight at the Spectrum. Again, go get your tickets and go support the Lady Aggies. And as they get ready to take on the Cougars, I'm sick of BYU. Hey, and by the way, another thing that really, before we move on from the BYU conversation, another thing that really bothered me was the celebration by Barcelo, by Harms, like, after the game. They were just, I mean, they're sitting there. It's the first time they played in front of fans the whole entire season. But, boy, they were just thrilled to get out of the win. They're mocking the crowd, especially Harms. Like, he's so linked, I was kind of hoping he'd fall on his face as he's running to the tunnel. I would have been absolutely okay with that. But it was just annoying. Like, they're flexing towards the crowd. And I'm like, Harms, you scored freaking 8 points, dude. Put your damn arms down. Barcelo, sure, he can talk all he wants. But on the other side of it, dude, Coach Pope, so Marco Anthony is just coming off the court. And I was right there, and Mark Pope came over and grabbed his arm and said, "You're going to be a special player. Like, this is going to be a good team. Stick with it." And you guys, you know, that was a hell of a ball game, and that was fun to be a part of. Like, said those words to Marco, and Marco's like, "Thanks, I think." I mean, just the classiness from him is awesome. So, I love. Look, I don't like BYU. The staff at Utah State does not like BYU, but I have a little bit more respect for what, you know, Sataki and Pope and who those guys are after a game. That they have some class. It's kind of nice to see.
Change.
Hey, let's go ahead and get to see. We got some text here. 7772. I'm excited to see how they handle a game where they are favorite tomorrow. That's College of Idaho, Utah State. They should be able to experiment with a different offensive scheme to figure out how to put some more points on the board. 9315 text in. Does it make a huge difference if the Spectrum is full? Yes. I would tell you right now, it makes a massive difference between 1,600 and 10,600 standing room only.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference. If students are there, if that arena is full, those environments help your fringe guys play good, your good players play great, and your great players play elite. And it also it gets in the head of your opponents too, and that crowd is great at getting after guys. And this BYU team, while they have some players, they haven't had. I don't see this team as having like the knockout talent like they've had in the past. So it's all that being said, BYU has had Utah State's number now 9 straight times, regardless of the venue.
Regardless of who's head coach and regardless of who's on the court.
Yep.
And like honestly, I thought last year they had a great shot to beat the Cougars.
Yeah, me too.
But TJ Haws and that Toulson kid was just incredible. He is something to watch. But that was just too much for a Utah State team who was relying on Sam Merrill a lot to get the help that he needed productively to score. 7772 texted in again, just about the offensive scheme and to experiment, and about and finding a way to put some more points on the board. I think you throw everything in the can tomorrow. I think you say, you know what, let's try this, let's try this, let's try it. You get all just get it all out of your system. Whatever you want to try, let's try it tomorrow versus the College of Idaho.
Right. Look, we've been trying a few things, but we haven't been able to go too regular on it, to keep going on it, to keep fine-tuning it, to get more automatic with it, with some of the games. And this is the type of game tomorrow night to help them to do that.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up here on the first hour with the Full Court Press.
The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wee's T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
All right, let's wrap it up here on another edition of Full Court Press. Hour number 1 coming to a close here in about 2 minutes. I want to go back to the experiment part on the text from 7772. Again, like I said in the previous segment, you don't leave anything to chance. You throw whatever you got out there. I mean, I'd like to see an all-big lineup just to see what it looks like. I know you can't have, I guess, a lot of court time without Raleigh Wooster on the court. He's got to be on the court because he's such a great scorer. But maybe you try an all-big lineup and just see where that gets you. I don't know what it would look like. I don't know how awkward it would look. But, again, the problem is when you try all these lineups, Eric, I just don't know how long you can go without not having Raleigh on the court. It's just too hard.
Well, I think that's what this does, right? Give Barstow significant minutes. Give Ashworth significant minutes.
Ashworth, and I like seeing Ashworth on the court.
But you can't take it away from Raleigh either. He's a young player. No. He needs to understand the speed of the game and have responsibilities. But you got to put these other guys, give them some time on the court. Give them responsibility where they can fail, but it's not going to be, critical for the team.
Sure. I was kind of intrigued with the thought of like Barstow, Marco, Alfonso, and Keta. That give me 4 or 5. Barstow, Marco, Alfonso, Keta, and Bean on the court. Maybe even Dorius and Keta on the court. I know it would kind of look a little bit dorky because, Dorius isn't as athletic as Keta.
Yeah, I'd love to see Alfonso have extended minutes.
He needs extended minutes so badly.
Figure things out.
Yeah.
Brock Miller get in some rhythm.
Yeah.
But then some of these other guys too that need to get more comfortable in the gym, wearing an Aggie uniform, in the Spectrum, playing meaningful minutes. So, hopefully.
All right, second hour of the Full Court Press coming up here in just moments.
Wow. The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Flying by the seat of our pants, Eric Frandsen and Ajay Salvesen here on the Full Court Press. 5:01 p.m., your start time here for the hour number 2. Hey, you are looking to do something tomorrow night, okay? You're bored, you're all home, you need a friend, and you want to go with a friend. Good news for you. Go ahead and, just make that sound right there into the mic. Yes, that is not Eric making weird lip sounds. That is 4 tickets to Utah State College of Idaho game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Are we going to give away a pair or 4?
Let's give away 2 pair.
Okay, there we go.
We'll spread it around.
Yeah, let's spread the love around. It's Christmas time. We're going to spread the love. 2 pair of Aggie tickets to go to Utah State College of Idaho tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. How do we want to give these away? I know, production live on air, but that's how it goes sometimes. How should we give these away?
It's a good question.
Do we have a question we could ask?
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Who won pick 6? You just say Ajay or Eric, and if you're right, we'll give you a pair. The first 2 people who get it right. We have not revealed who won pick 6 yet. I mean, I've tallied it, I know. But you can text in right now. I'm covering it so Ajay can't see.
Why?
Text in right now. Here's the first thing. You have to be able to go. You have to be able to use these tickets. I don't want somebody texting
go on to eBay
to give an answer.
$40.
Oh, I'm glad I won, but I'm not going to be able to make it. So here's the thing. You have to be able to go. And number 2 is say who won pick 6, Ajay or Eric. And the first 2 people to get it correct will get tickets to go see Utah State take on College of Idaho tomorrow night in the Spectrum. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, but who won? Can you?
We have to wait till we get submissions.
Okay, signal me. 1 for Ajay, 2 for you. Just give me a number.
9315 texts in. Is it bad for? I'm guessing he means Bean. Is it bad for Bean and Keta to be on the court at the same time?
No, because it worked last year.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's good.
I think it's great. Yep, absolutely.
And 9315 says Eric.
Well, 9315 just lost my friendship and 2 tickets. No.
I don't think it's bad to have Bean and Keta on the court
I think
at the same
needed.
time.
It worked last year. It's just, I don't know. I just think they're looking for someone to lead the team, like who has that. And I think Raleigh's getting there. It's just that he's a freshman. Like, not even Sam as a freshman, I don't think could have led the team.
Well, Marco's improving. I think Marco can be that leader.
Yeah.
He was around the team all last year. It's not like he just came out of nowhere. He was with the team all last year.
Yeah.
9474 says Ajay.
Time out. Wait.
So we got to vote for each of us.
Wait, what if more than 3 people vote for you and get it right? Then what?
I said the first 2 people who text in and get it right.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So the first 2.
Oh, wait. No. Have them project how many we got right, too.
No, we don't. Got to keep it simple. Make it easy. Make it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I mean, if you want to add that, that's fine, but it will not be a qualifier.
If you put 6-0, you get 4 tickets instead of a pair. Yeah, okay, deal. So, anyways, no, I think, I don't know if Bean's the problem. I just think it's just trying to find some chemistry within the offense itself.
That's it. It's just trying to find the right combinations of guys. Find the right guys that are there that are going to be able to compete and run the system.
Okay,
so these guys may be just overwhelmed trying to understand what Coach Smith and his staff are asking of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, you remember last year? I think it was in our first press conference with Coach, and we were asking about just that because, I mean, there was a bunch of new guys that were coming into the team, and it was like, how are they going to handle Craig Smith's complex offensive scheme? And it took a couple of games, but then it worked out just fine. I'm with you, but let me ask you, what is the right amount of guys, or what is, in your opinion, personal opinion, Coach Frandsen, who would be that right mix of guys to have on the court when you need it? When you need down the stretch clutch minutes, who's your guys?
Who are my 5 guys I want on the court?
Give me 5 guys and 1 guy off the bench.
Okay, Keta, Bean.
Okay.
Raleigh, Marco. And that's where it gets sticky for me. I really can't get past 4.
Really? Okay, I mean, mine's...
Because the others that may be on the list, they just haven't quite been consistent this year. So I have a hard time. Who's that 5th and 6th guy?
Yeah, but we're only 4 games in, right? I mean, it's going to take a minute,
I should be able to say Brock Miller and Alfonso Anderson. But I have a hard time saying that
I'm sorry, but I wasn't going to say Brock Miller even if we're 10 games in. I just am not seeing it.
Who's going to replace him?
Okay, so here's what I've got. I've got Bean, Keta, Raleigh, Marco, Bairstow.
Bairstow hasn't proven to be any more consistent than Miller has.
I think Bairstow catches on quicker. I think he's a more efficient player. I think he's a smarter player.
Is he? He's turned the ball over more than Brock has, and Brock has scored more points than he has.
Yeah, but Raleigh dribbles into double teams too. Like, I mean, it happens to everybody. He's a sophomore. Like, that's what you forget, is that Bairstow's a sophomore.
That's true.
And Raleigh's a freshman. Like, let's take it easy on these guys for a little bit. I mean, now if you're a junior making those mistakes, then shame on you. I got a text from somebody saying, easy on Brock Miller. Look, I'd go easy on him, but I haven't seen a whole lot from him. Well, and then my 1 guy off the bench is going to be Trevin Dorius.
Why?
Physicality. The kid's so physical. Like, he's willing to push you around.
How many minutes has he played outside of that 1 game?
That's not his call, though. He can't, like, it's hard to get over the hump when, like, Alfonso is automatically the 6th guy off the bench. Like, I think Dorius is a good basket. In fact, I'd almost switch between Dorius and Ashworth. I really like Stephen Ashworth. Defensively, he's a mess. Looks lost like crazy.
And those things are going to improve as the season goes. With so many new players learning the system. And that was something that Stu Morrill was famous for, scheduling softer non-conference, which drove all of us crazy. But it helped his team figure each other out and understand his system. So when it came to conference play, they were a well-oiled machine that could not be stopped. Now, Craig Smith has had a different philosophy. And granted, there's some real strengths to it too. Like, you got to schedule well early in the year so you can have better opportunities at the end of the year. And so sometimes that can be a bit of a struggle if your team's not all there just yet. But you need these types of games like they have tomorrow to work on those little details to fine-tune it in the game because they haven't had many opportunities to do that. So I've said before, I think Brock Miller has that opportunity. I think he has that ability. He's been inconsistent. And I hope that this coaching staff can find ways to get him in rhythm early if he doesn't look like he's in rhythm early.
How long does it take him to get in? Yeah, but how long does it take him to get in rhythm? Like what? Raleigh goes out there and hits a jumper from like 15 feet out on the left corner of the elbow. No problem. Brock goes out there and has a wide open three and graces the rim.
Well, no offense, I get that, but what other options do you have? It's not like there's this scorcher on the bench that's just not getting minutes because this is a coaching staff that's determined to play their veteran guys. It's clearly not the case because you've got a true freshman running your point guard.
I think we could maybe get, and I think you're right. I feel like we're going to get a lot of answers tomorrow night versus College of Idaho of guys you're going to see extreme minutes and guys who'll see maybe limited minutes. I think you play everybody though. I think like last year, remember when we held Sam Merrill and Namish Keta out and Sam was I guess the conversation was Sam walked into the office, sat down and coach said, we're not gonna Sam told him, you better not tell me I'm not playing tonight. And coach said, well then you're not gonna like when I hear you're not playing tonight. And so Sam was, wasn't thrilled about it, but he understood too. I think tomorrow night you play everybody. Everybody starts, everybody plays. No, I mean, you're 1-3 on the season right now. You need the experience, you need the reps, and you need the chemistry to be better. So,
9310 texts in, why does Justin Bean feel the need to shoot a 3 every game? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm dumb.
But if that's something that this coaching staff is working on to get their big men to be able to shoot threes,
okay,
they have
so let
to
me
take
ask
those
you
shots.
this. Who would you rather have shoot a 3, Bean or Keta?
Probably Bean.
I'd have Keta. Yeah, I'd have Keta. Keta's stroke looked a little bit more, I don't know if normal's the word.
Conventional?
Yeah, it just looked a little bit more smooth than Bean did. And I think Keta's not uncomfortable shooting from 3. Bean looks like he's uncomfortable shooting from 3.
By the way, reminder, if you want to go see Utah State take on College of Idaho, you don't have your tickets, we have some we can give you. We have 2 pair. Here's the only way to
you
win
gotta put the caveat in there.
Text in 435-339-0321 or message us directly through the 106.9 The Fan mobile app and let us know who won Pick 6. We've got a vote for each of us so far. So one of you is correct. It was not a tie, I will say that. So one of you is correct, but we need one more. We still have another pair to give away. So before we can reveal Pick 6, we need a few more votes. 9310 says Ajay won.
Yes.
So it's 2 votes for Ajay.
But here's the thing, is that you sound like you're already giving it away. You know that, right? Like your voice inflection says that you're giving it away.
I'm giving it away?
Yeah, well, no, sorry, that you're giving the answer away already. Because you are really happy about this, and so your voice inflection says that I lost.
No, I'm not. I'm just...
So congratulations.
This is a different way to do it.
Your voice inflection that you are excited says...
5763 text in, says Eric won, and then 4446 texted in and said Eric.
Oh, come on!
We've got 3 votes for me, 2 votes for you.
People!
Now, remember, we said the first one's in with the first correct answers.
Okay, so should we go to break, come back, and announce it?
Let's do that. We'll call a timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, we'll reveal the 6 things we thought might happen this past weekend.
And Eric won. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
I don't know about that.
I hope you're all thrilled. I hope you're happy that you didn't have any faith in me. Let's go to the break.
The answer is...
You're listening to the Doug Gottlieb Show.
So this is a great opportunity for Jameis Winston. And I think this is fascinating theater because the only person that people think could maybe help or save Jameis Winston is somebody like a Sean Payton. So the betting on yourself worked for Cam. Now Jameis Winston bet on himself and he's going to get an opportunity.
The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Great Basin Graphics has the experts to create business designs, apparel, and products that'll make your employees and customers look fantastic. Great Basin Graphics simply has the best screen printer and equipment in town. The holidays are on their way, and now is the time to design and order the perfect gifts for staff, family, company parties, or client gifts. Great Basin Graphics will make people look and remember with the perfect holiday gifts. Stop by their new location at 966 West 400 North to see hundreds of great holiday ideas or go to greatbasingraphics.com for screen printing, embroidery, and graphic design options.
When the open road opens and you're ready to go, we're here at Valvoline Instant Oil Change. With the same stay-in-your-car oil change, the same expert care you can trust, and the same quality service that's rated 4.6 out of 5 stars, where you get in and out quickly without ever having to leave the safety of your car. Let's get ready for the road ahead. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Service you can see. Experts you can trust.
Now open at 695 North Main, Logan.
This is Jeff John, head golf professional at Logan River Golf Course. Happy holidays from all of us down at Logan River, and thanks for your support during this crazy year we've had. It's time once again for our annual holiday punch pass sale. We have our regular punch passes, senior punch passes. We have a great combination junior punch pass, as well as half passes for regulars and seniors. If you're a member of the Men's or Ladies Association, you can take another $10 off the already discounted price. Happy holidays from all of us at Logan River Golf Course. Play well, play fair, play fast.
Getting engaged? For more than a century, SC Needham Jewelers has been selling diamond engagement rings. For 5 generations, we've been selling natural diamonds. Now making history, we're excited to introduce lab-grown diamonds to our selection. These are beautifully cut diamonds and are man-made. They do save you money. Come examine these new diamonds, then select the perfect ring. You'll get SC Needham quality at internet pricing. Open 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. SC Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
The new home for the Full Court Press. Weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Full Court Press, Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen, 5:16 your time here on the December 7th, Monday evening. Thanks for joining us, however, and wherever you're doing so. Hope your Monday is as good as ours. If you want to text into the show, 435-339-0321. With questions, concerns, we can talk Aggie football, Aggie basketball. Women's basketball plays tonight versus BYU, 7 p.m. at the Spectrum. Go get your tickets. I don't think they're sold out yet, but see if they are. Call in or go to the ticket office and see what they got. Try and get over there and support the Lady Aggies as Kayla Ard makes her debut in the BYU-Utah State rivalry.
It was a good start for Utah State, women's basketball. They've kind of struggled a little bit.
They've competed, though. I mean, that Seattle game, they were up 5 with 24 seconds left, blew it, and then went to overtime and lost on a last-second shot. They're competitive a lot more than they were the last 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, picked last in the league. I think they'll do much better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so here's what the deal is. We had 2 pair of Aggie men's basketball tickets for tomorrow night's game versus College of Idaho, 7 p.m., again, if you go to the game, wear your mask. You're required to wear a mask. So bring your mask and plan on wearing it the whole entire game.
Yes.
Can't take it off. So there's that. And if you win, you have to, A, be able to go to the game. Okay? So if you win, you're going to the game tomorrow night. And B, you need to be able to come pick up the tickets here at our Castfly Media Group offices, 810 West, 200 North.
Before 5:30 tomorrow night.
There you go. So here's the deal. We have a pick 6.
6 lines.
6 lines that we have results of. And Eric won. He gave it away by his voice inflection of excitement when he was talking about it. So this sucks to be me. But go ahead, Eric. Why don't you just go ahead and read the results anyways?
Here are the 6. You're the sixth, whatever.
Sarah dies at the end of the movie, by the way. The killer gets her.
Namish Keta blocks versus BYU. We set the line at 2.5. He did not have any. 0.
That kind of surprised me, actually.
Me too. I took the under. You took the over, so that's 1 for me. Which was the higher scoring game in the Mountain West? San Jose.
I hate you.
San Jose against Hawaii or Fresno versus Nevada?
That was a bad one by you, by the way. It was a dumb line.
That was really close, actually.
And you won.
San Jose, Hawaii combined 59 points. Fresno State and Nevada combined 63. We both picked Fresno and Nevada, so we both got that right. See, so you're in the game.
9474 and 5763. Come by the offices tomorrow.
Top 25 upsets. No, it's
I hate you. You trying to make me feel good.
It's 9315 and 5763. Is that what you said?
So
9315 and 5763. If I get it right, if it's you,
come by the offices tomorrow.
9474 and 9310. Okay, so top 25 upsets in college football. Set the line at 2.5. There were 5. It surprised me. There were 5 upsets. I took the over. You took the under. I got that one right. So far, I'm 3 for 3.
This is so dumb. Just tell me that I lost.
Coastal Carolina versus BYU.
People got to make plans tomorrow.
You set the line Cougars by 21.5. I took the under. You took the over. By the way, it was Coastal Carolina by 5.
I told you. That would happen.
Alabama versus LSU.
Please say that
The line was set at 29.5. I took the over. You took the under. It was actually 38. Alabama over LSU.
This is so stupid.
By 38.
I hate you.
And then
no one cares. No one cares.
5-1 right now.
No one cares.
Saints versus the Falcons.
Wait, so 5-1?
At this point, yes.
Oh my gosh!
Saints
Why
and
even?
Falcons.
Stop it! He's dead already.
Taysom Hill, all-purpose yards. You set it at 150.5.
9310. I'm so sorry.
We both took the over.
9474. Please forgive me.
He had 315 all-purpose yards.
I know we were gonna put tickets on the line for you guys, or else I would have tried harder.
To this point, the tiebreaker doesn't matter. We predicted scores. Both of us got them wrong. I did pick the correct team.
Oh,
I was
okay,
way
dude.
Off.
No
you
one
had
freaking cares.
You had a closer score, but it doesn't matter.
Oh.
So I was a perfect 6 for 6. You got 2 correct.
Bite me. I hate you.
So congratulations.
Oh, no. Congratulations.
To 9315 and 5763. We'll have your tickets waiting for you up front at our offices, 810 West, 200 North in Logan.
Hey, Doug, shut up.
Hey, can we switch to football?
Yeah, sure. What do you got? Oh, crap. See, now I've let down everybody. Ajay, what the heck, man? I show faith in you, and this is what happened? Come on, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that BYU was going to choke that badly, and I didn't know that Les Miles was going to, or not Les Miles, who?
Ed Orgeron? Boy, that's going back a week. Les Miles. No wonder you're struggling with pick 6. You don't know who's playing.
Oh,
9315. Thanks for the tickets. Your show is awesome.
You're welcome.
Hey,
My pleasure.
When you hitch your wagon to the right horse,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're going to come out on top.
God, this is such bullcrap. I'm so angry right now.
So hey, you know what? Kudos to BYU and Coastal Carolina for finding a way to make that game happen.
Yeah.
Short notice. Both teams played hard. Close game. Coastal Carolina on that ugly field. We can blame BYU for that. Or excuse me, Boise State for that. But Coastal Carolina played tough. Made more plays. Defensively, kept the ball away from BYU. By the way, their defensive guy who was like mauling Zach Wilson
after
that interception at the half on that Hail Mary, he was named as the conference defensive player of the week.
Stop it. But here's the thing, is he played really, really good.
It's true. I mean, that one play stands out, but
yeah, and as
for
it
the wrong
should.
reasons.
I mean, it's what he did is not legal. I mean, look, if you knock him over once, it's the quarterback, man. Like, knock him down once, stand in front of him, and then you're good to go. Like, let him go. You don't need to, like, then put an elbow into his chin, a knee into his groin, and a right fist into his, like, ribs. It's not necessary. But in saying that, here's the thing about Coastal Carolina. They were picked and they were treated as the underdog. Even though it was at their house on 2 days' notice for BYU, going across the country to play Coastal Carolina with College game day there, they were the underdog. And so what did Coastal Carolina do? They played the bully. They're willing to go out there and just punch you in the face. Great, you know what? We're going to punch you right in the face. We're going to see what you can do about it. We're going to see if you actually want to fight back or if you're just here to try and pick up a win and get out. And they didn't back down. They were playing to say they were the favorite. Like, just pushing you around. They were taking some cheap shots. But I think we've talked about it before. There's sometimes in a game when someone is able to score at will, and someone needs just to flatten him out, right? Like, when he gets to the hoop, just plant him and say, hey, do it again. See what happens.
2776 text in. To be fair, that was BYU football under Bronco Mendenhall, referring to the number 94.
No, that's absolutely right, too.
It's true.
That is 100% right. There is no lie about it. But again, it's Coastal Carolina.
If your quarterback becomes a defensive player, go after him.
Yes. But again, Eric,
but you can do it without
just
doing the way they did it.
It is and you should be going out without doing it that way. But again, Eric, it's that Coastal Carolina was not going out there being like, oh my gosh, we're playing BYU. It's Zach Wilson, the Heisman candidate. It's this massive offensive line. We should be scared. They didn't go out there and play like that. They went out there and played like they were the bully, that it was their playground and they owned every bit of it. And give them credit for having that mentality and that attitude versus a bigger, stronger, more athletic BYU football team.
They had a game plan that worked.
And by the way, to BYU fans saying, well, they only got 2 days to notice to play. Coastal Carolina was prepping for Liberty for 3.5 days.
Right, it affected both teams
Don't
equally.
tell me that it was a 2-day notice and they didn't have a chance to prep for it.
You know, it's funny, watching BYU going into the week, it was, this is a great opportunity. We're going to raise our profile in the rankings, and this is what we need. And when they lose, oh, there was such short notice. I mean, they can't be taken, that loss shouldn't be taken too seriously. It's like, it was super uber important in the days leading up to it, and then after the loss, that should be overlooked. It was a ranked team, but look at all the excuses, short turnaround, and we had to travel across the country. They find excuses when they lose.
Bingo, exactly.
But they get so excited leading up to it, hoping that they win.
2409, Ajay picks BYU by 28, and now listen to make excuses. They flat out got beat. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying 94 bullied this team around by himself. This Coastal Carolina offensive line beat up that BYU defense. They flat out beat BYU on every facet of that football game. They shut down Zach Wilson. They shut down his receivers. They shut down the tight ends. They shut down the defensively, I thought Coastal Carolina was phenomenal. They were so dang good. I'm not making excuses for why BYU lost. There's no excuses to make. None. Zero. Zilch. BYU's going to make the excuse of, well, they only had 2 days to prep. Coastal Carolina was prepping for Liberty the whole entire week, leading up to, Wednesday night, even Thursday morning? And then all of a sudden had to switch their prep to go to turn their attention to BYU. Coastal Carolina was just in the exact same position as BYU was. And that's what happens. And again, give 100% credit to Coastal Carolina and what they did to that BYU football team all night long. One of the more impressive wins I've seen in any game, in any conference of college football. I thought it was great stuff. 9315. I think Coastal Carolina was fantastic. This is how Utah State should be. Yeah, having that mentality of being the bully. I think we saw that in 18, right? But we hadn't really seen that kind of bullying of football from Utah State since the Gary Anderson years, 11, 12, and 13. I mean, that's Gary Anderson could take that squad and go to any place in the country and say, you know what, we're going to come out here, and if you win, you're going to be dragging your bodies around the next morning. We're going to beat you up. We're going to have that mentality. Now, unfortunately, Gary Anderson, round 2, that wasn't the case. But I thought, in round 1, absolutely. I thought Gary Anderson had that mentality. Like I said, I think we saw a lot of that in 18. It wasn't so much from the defensive side as it was the offensive side. But like on a defensive mentality standpoint of being that kind of a bullish team, we haven't seen that since Gary Anderson round 1 years. That's just me. 2787 text in. That is typical BYU. Always an excuse. It's never their fault. Boo-hoo. They got spanked. Again, I agree. Again, I'm not making any excuses for BYU. I hope it doesn't sound like I am, because I'm not. Now, should 94 have been flagged? Absolutely. I don't know if he should have been ejected, but definitely flagged for the penalty. But, and here's the thing is, like, from a mentality standpoint, they got in that big, like, melee, if you will, at halftime on the middle of the field. You thought that BYU was going to come out and be like, you know what, time to shove it down their throat, time to punch this thing away, and blow this thing out of the water. To put Coastal Carolina to bed early. And again, give a lot of credit to Coastal Carolina for the way they played. It was incredibly impressive. So impressive what Coastal Carolina did. 2776. Did not realize Ajay was such a BYU fan. Again, I'm not a Cougar fan. Doggone it, I'm not a Cougar fan. I'm giving credit to Coastal Carolina. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I'm not making excuses for the Cougars. There's no excuses to be made. They both played the same football game. They both had the same opportunities. It was all about execution, and Coastal Carolina executed better than BYU. Flat out. That is the only answer. I'm not hopping on the BYU wagon here. 9310. I met a guy in Vegas who played at Idaho during the dying days off during the WAC. He told me Utah State had a reputation for being mean and dirty. I knew they were mean, and I guess with the reputation of being mean, you're also dirty, right? I mean, Bronco Mendenhall's Cougars did that. I don't know. I can tell you, and I know this for sure, the Aggie team was mean back in Gary Henderson's days. Really, really mean. But I guess it goes along with the whole dirty aspect. I don't know. But look, Anderson wasn't afraid of anybody, and he took that mentality into the heads of his team, especially his defense. 2776. Obviously, Ajay bleeds royal blue. Moving on. I love you, 2776. You're lucky I like you so much. 9315. Was the Bull Committee correct on BYU? Yeah. Of course they were. Absolutely they were. There's nothing wrong about it. Like, look, they had a chance to go to Coastal Carolina and play a team that BYU was stronger, better, and more athletic than, and got beaten every phase of the game. Every phase of the game did BYU get beat by. And that is exactly what the playoff committee felt like, and that's why they ranked them so low, is because, look, sure, you've played these teams. The only good team you played is Boise State. And the only reason why you beat Boise State is because they're starting running back, starting quarterback, and like four linemen were out of the game too. All starters. So we wanted to see you play a real football team. So BYU went and played Coastal Carolina, and BYU was exposed. Incredibly exposed for the team that they are. There is no way around it. All right, you guys are sick of talking about BYU. I'm sure you're sick of hearing about it too. So let's go on to some other scores. Really quickly around the top 25. Louisiana over Appalachian State 24-21. Alabama throttles LSU 55-17. Nick Saban doing some good work there. Notre Dame beat Syracuse 45-21. Clemson, 45-10 winners over Vatech. Ohio State over Michigan State, 52-12. Texas A&M, 31-20. Florida over Tennessee, 31-19. Number 9, Iowa State over West Virginia, 42-6. Number 10 shuts out Duke, 48-0. Oklahoma over Baylor, 27-14. 12 Indiana beats number 16 Wisconsin, 14-6. That game was in Wisconsin, by the way. TCU upsets Oklahoma State, 29-22. That's a big loss for Oklahoma State, too. North Carolina over Western Carolina, 49-9. Number 19, Iowa, 35-21 winners over Illinois. Rice upsets Marshall. Not only upsets them, but shuts them out, 20-0. Stanford beats Washington, 31-26. California upsets Oregon, who is number 23, 21-17. And Navy falls to Tulsa, 19-6. Now Tulsa turns their attention to Cincinnati. Vanderbilt, Georgia, Northwestern, Minnesota, Washington State, USC, all were postponed. So, looking at the rankings, and by the way, the playoff rankings come out tomorrow. Top 7 stay as they were. Indiana moves up 2 spots to number 8. Iowa State's now at number 10. They moved up 2 spots. Coastal Carolina moved up 3 to 11. Georgia fell 1 spot. BYU fell 6 to 14. Northwestern, USC, Louisiana, Tulsa each move up spots in that order. North Carolina and Colorado were not ranked. Now they are. North Carolina is 20, Colorado 21. Liberty, Texas, Buffalo, Wisconsin all round out the top 25, while Wisconsin dropped 7 spots. Texas, Buffalo joined the rankings as they were not ranked last week. Playoffs should be looking interesting next or tomorrow, Eric. Look, Ohio State flattens Michigan State. They are 5-0 in the season. Texas A&M is being brutally punished for 1 loss. They're still clinging on to that 5th spot in the playoff rankings. Do you think that switches tomorrow, or because of the 52-17 win from the Buckeyes over the Spartans, a bad Spartan team, is that too much to overcome for A&M, at least for this week?
I think the top 5 is pretty appropriate.
Okay.
There's some... The AP and the coaches, there's some variance between Clemson and Ohio State, but I think it's pretty appropriate. What will be interesting is, does Coastal Carolina, how far do they move?
Yeah.
In the college football playoff?
Yep.
Cincinnati is still kind of in the hunt certainly they're in the driver's seat for New Year's Six Bowl, but the chance to get into a college football playoff is probably not there.
But if they can beat a ranked Tulsa team in back-to-back weeks, the season finale, and then they'll meet in the AAC championship game, that says a lot, Eric.
Yeah, there's still some chances some teams ahead of them could lose, and they might sneak in, but it's highly improbable. But, speaking of college football, today the LA Bowl got announced that they're going to cancel this year.
That's where the Mountain West Conference champion was supposed to be playing a Pac-12 representative, and that game is no longer happening. Look, if Boise State wins, I think you just keep them at home in the Potato Bowl. I know that's not the most grandiose thing for a Mountain West Conference championship, but this year you're just having so many opportunities taken away. Take what you can get, play at home, and maybe some kind of a capacity of a home crowd. And, whoever you get. Maybe it's... Honestly, there's a chance it could be BYU again, the way things look. By the way, 6891 text in, at least BYU didn't have the snapping issues like the Raging Cajuns did. Oh, ouch. Yeah, that's right. That's a good point, 6891.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, bowl projections right now, I don't know what it does for Boise State because now there's no LA Bowl. They're gonna have to find a different way to play.
There are 2 bowls now that are canceled for the Mountain West: the LA Bowl and the Hawaii Bowl.
Hawaii Bowl, yeah, good one.
So there's still 4 others: the famous Idaho Potato, the Arizona Bowl, the New Mexico Bowl is still going to happen, but it's been moved, and then the bowl. What's it called? Can't think what it's called. I have a tie-in. It's in
Mexico.
No, Arizona. Used to be called the Cheez-It Bowl, but...
I don't even remember now.
Anyway. There's another one.
Hey, let me ask you something. Speaking of the Mountain West Conference in football, Boise State has played less games than San Jose State and Nevada. San Jose State and Nevada get it on this Friday night. Winner gets a trip to the Mountain West Conference title game, but they have to go to Boise State. Is that fair? The only way Boise State does not get in the Mountain West Conference Championship game is if San Jose State and Nevada cancel their game due to COVID. That is the only way that Boise State doesn't get in. If that game is played, then no matter what happens with that result, Boise State's in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. And they get to host it even though they've played less games.
Well, the team who hosts is the team that's the highest in college football playoff rankings. Is that correct? That's
yeah.
according to the Mountain West rules.
Yeah.
So there isn't anybody ranked from the Mountain West in the college football playoff, at least not to this point. Now, there are teams in both polls receiving votes. San Jose State is actually the highest team in the AP and in the coaches. San Jose is knocking on the door for being ranked. Then Boise State is receiving votes. So is Nevada. But how the Mountain West determines who hosts could be really tricky. Because if no team from the Mountain West is in the top 25 of the college football playoff, do they default to the highest ranked team in the AP and the coaches?
That's a good. I see
that.
I don't know.
Then it's San Jose.
But see, what everything I've read is that no matter what, as long as that game's played, Boise State will host the Mountain West Conference Championship game. No matter what, as long as that game's played this Friday, Boise State will host it. That's unreal. Like, San Jose State, like, if you played...
I don't know how that can be. I mean, San Jose would have played more games and is undefeated. They've earned that right to host that game.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That being said, they can't play games in San Jose.
True.
Like, their game this week is being relocated to Las Vegas.
See, but then you play the game in Las Vegas then. Like, that's where you need to play.
That wouldn't be bad.
No, I think it'd be great.
Play your conference championship game at Sam Boyd.
But Boise State won't let that happen. If they get a chance to host it, they want to play it on the blue turf.
Well, of course they do.
So, yeah. It's just too bad. I feel bad for San Jose State. I feel bad for Nevada. And I feel bad that those are the two teams that have to duke it out just to get a chance to play Boise State. Man, they catch a break in everything. Like, and by the way, Boise State dodged a huge bullet not having to play San Jose State. Like, they dodged a major bullet because part of me thinks that San Jose State would have beat them.
Great game on Friday, Nevada and San Jose.
Oh, yeah. 7
which
o'clock
will be in
on
Las
CBS
Vegas.
Sports Network. Yep, that will be in Las Vegas.
Boise State's at Wyoming. I'm going to be cheering for the Cowboys.
Oh, I will be too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will be, if I might be so honest with you. Hey, speaking of Texas A&M, they got bad news. Their game has been postponed with Ole Miss because of COVID issues at Ole Miss. So an A&M's chance to impress the committee has been turned away now because of their game being postponed with Ole Miss. That's, if you're A&M, you're just kind of wondering if you can catch a break because you need Ohio State to, you need Ohio State to either lose a game to Michigan, which isn't going to happen, or you got to be able to get games in and impress the committee. That's just kind of the way things are right now. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a break. Coming back, we'll get into more football. There's some NBA news, by the way, that we need to also hit on. There's some NBA news. We'll get onto that and much, much more here on the Full Court Press, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. But before we go any further, Nate Craigman of This Week in Mountain West.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
What are you listening to?
I'm listening to the bumper music.
What are you watching?
A fireworks factory in Russia caught fire last night.
Video.
Rex Chapman tweets it out. 2020 on brand. It's like it's exploding all over the place.
So, there was a video of, it's been trending everywhere, but Zach Wilson getting the crap kicked out of him on that interception. And Rex replies to a tweet of the video and just has like all these laughing emojis, and then he gets killed by everybody for doing it. It's kind of funny. Oh man, it's good stuff. All right, Full Court Press, Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM on the mobile app of 106.9 The Fan and 106.9thefan.com if you're streaming. Thanks for joining us, however, and wherever you are doing so. Here as we get ready to conclude another edition of the Full Court Press. Let's go ahead and quickly jump to the NBA situation. Okay, first of all, on national TV games, the NBA is like, hey, enough of this. Like, you are going to play when it's a national television game. You're going to suck it up and you're going to play and you're going to like it. But in regards of non-nationally televised games, particularly at the start of the season, a memo which was obtained by ESPN says the flexibility applies to teams playing back-to-back games and presents examples of possible scenarios, including to rest a key veteran player who played a substantial role on a team that advanced deep in the 2020 playoffs, or to rest a player who is still returning to full strength after recovering from COVID-19. So that'd be a clear nod to like LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler. I'd even put like guys like Jamal Murray who played, how many 7-game series in that playoffs. So my question to you is it no longer about the fans anymore unless it's national TV and it's more about money? Because like if a fan pays $500 for a seat just so they can go watch LeBron James play a basketball game, and to get there, and because it's not on national television, like it's the Lakers versus Memphis, and because it's not on national television, LeBron James doesn't have to play and they sit him. Are we looking too much towards the money instead of the fans, or are they looking out for themselves in the right way? What do you think, Eric?
I don't know. I think that, look, the NBA realizes it's a compact season. They're trying to get 74 games in. They didn't have much of an off season. Certainly some teams had a much longer off season. But there's going to be back-to-backs here. They're trying to protect their brand. I don't like the sitting in the load management business. You never saw it before. We saw the greats. They played every game unless they had a legit injury. And then you start to get into the Houston Rockets, who conveniently found injuries late in the season to sit their stars so they could be healthy and, quote-unquote healthy and have fuel in the tank for the playoff run. And then it started to become more and more of a thing. I don't love it. But at the same time, I think the NBA is looking at it like, look, we're going to have smaller numbers at venues anyway, and we may have venues that don't have fans. So let's not choose that to be a fight that we want right now. Because players are going to want load management. They're going to want to take breaks so they can be, ready to go and do the long play. You want to be available to help your team late in the year and in the postseason. But it's becoming more and more of a thing, and I don't love it, to be honest. I think the NBA needs to fix its scheduling. This is obviously not the year to do that, but make it so that, adjust your scheduling. Don't do back-to-backs. Figure out your travel situation. And I thought they were making inroads on that before this whole COVID stuff hit, because it was getting to be a real problem with stars resting on big notable games that everybody was excited to watch.
Speaking of reporters on Monday, and it was the first time during training camp that James has spoke to the media. He said that he and the Lakers will be, quote unquote, judicious about his minutes to start the season. He said, quote, "I've always listened to my coaches," James said when asked about the load management. "We had the same thing last year. We're going to be smart as we can be on making sure that my body and on making sure that I'm ready to go. Obviously, every game matters, but we're competing for something that's high. We don't ever want to shortchange our stuff. For me personally, that's a fine line with me. But understanding that it's a shortened season, I think it's 71 days that the offseason is going to be." He's correct. "The shortest season for any professional sport ever. We're very conscientious about what we're going to do forward as far as me personally." Now, the Lakers start their season, their opening season opener on December 22nd. James, he turns 36 on December 30th. Now, the memo that was released and caught by the ESPN says that qualifying factors to determine whether a player falls under the unusual circumstances includes a player's age, injury history, COVID-19 recovery, season and career workload, as well as schedule issues, including how many games a team has recently played and how many consecutive road games it has played. I feel like it's just all catered to LeBron. Like, I'm reading this. LeBron can sit out for like 40 of the 72 games and there's no punishment. Honestly.
Well, the other thing that's not going to be punishable, marijuana.
Oh, J.R. Smith is just thrilled.
They're not going to test for marijuana this season. So there are definitely some big changes that the NBA is capitulating to the players on a couple different things. Some of it may be somewhat understandable, but others, it's like, come on. I mean, who's running this thing?
That's a good point. Let's go ahead and take a break. And coming up, we'll wrap up here another edition of the Full Court Press on a Monday evening. 106.9 The Fan. Wrapping up another show, the Full Court Press. Tomorrow, we'll get you ready for the College of Idaho. Who is the College of Idaho? What to expect from the Aggies, and we'll have our preview and predictions on that game.
Hey, did you see this quarterback at UNLV is in hot water?
Yeah, I did.
He's issued an apology for eating sushi off of a nude model.
Hey, what happened
during
in
a
Vegas,
reality show,
which was done in February, I believe.
Yeah, it's called Below Deck, and if I'm not mistaken, this is it's like a luxury yacht that goes out in different places, and it follows the crew and the different characters that come onto these boats. My question isn't so much as to why is he eating sushi off of a nude model, but how did he afford to go on this thing?
That's what I want to know. Who hooked him up? See, there's going to be questions about that too. Like, who paid for this trip, man?
Those are not inexpensive boats with this full staff. And
he said
5-star chefs.
Yeah, so like, how are you? And yeah, who's giving you that food? And because the NCAA is very tight on that kind of stuff. If you're not a powerhouse program, which UNLV in football is not. So, hello.
The episode is called Max and Dax's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Really, and on other things of what you may have missed, Harden on a holdout, still not showing up to practice. Silas saying, "Hey, look, if you have questions for Harden, go find Harden and ask him because I have no idea where he's at."
Oh gosh, that's not going to end well.
No, it's not.
And then, did you hear about Paul George complaining that Doc Rivers never used him right? They kept trying to use him like a J.J. Redick and pin downs. Says that's just not me. That's not my style. And then Doc Rivers counters and says, "Ty Lue was on the bench with me. Nothing's going to change. He was sitting right by my side the whole time."
Stop it.
Paul George is throwing his old coach under the bus with his new coach who ran the stuff.
He's in Phil. Man, he's across the country. You can do whatever you want now. I mean, honestly, that's just let it be. Hey, really quickly, Dick Allen, 7-time MLB All-Star, has passed away at the age of 78. Fearsome hitter who could do it all. Again, a 7-time All-Star, Dick Allen, has passed away. Tuesday, additional Full Court Press coming up tomorrow. Good night, everybody.